story, but you brought it up, so I'm going to have to ask you, give me the Cliff Notes version of what those anthrax attacks actually were, which for people who were not around then, killed a number of people, media employees. Anthrax packed envelopes were sent to to the newsrooms of a bunch of media organizations. I actually got one at my house. So it was a big deal. This was right after that.
Yes. So someone who had access to USAMRIID laboratory.
Which laboratory?
USAMRIID. I forget what the acronym stands for. It's the Bioweapons Laboratory or Biodefense Laboratory.
In Maryland.
Correct.
Yeah.
And so Dr. Bruce Ivan worked in that laboratory. He worked on vaccine technology and the spores, which are weaponized to be dispersed. And
the anthrax spores.
Correct. And what's unique about these spores is that when they're weaponized, they go through a process called tinning. And what that tinning does, it makes them so that they stay aerosolized. Because if you have Bacillus anthracis, it's too big of a agent. It falls to the ground, it sits. So to weaponize it, you want to make it so it stays dispersed and
light and fluffy.
Exactly. Yeah. And so Dr. Bruce Ivans was a specialist in that. Okay, making these things stay aerosolized, and then also developing the countermeasures to it. So if you're a real conspiracy theorist, you'd say that someone engaged in the false flagging of the anthrax attacks to promote the anthrax vaccine. Potentially. I mean, that's
potentially.
That's one theory that's out there. I personally believe, from analyzing all the different evidence, that Dr. Bruce Ivans is not the person that did it. From my professional network, I know several people that work directly with him. He's very much a very soft, loving kind of person. I don't see this person all of a sudden taking the spores out of his laboratory and then mailing them to people. This could have been done to continue the biodefense program around Bacillus anthracis as one possible scenario. So anyways, I mean, we're sort of off track here, but.
So there is no, because no one was ever charged with it. And he, as I remember, or was he charged?
I think they were in the process of charging him.
Well, certainly no one was convicted of it.
Yes.
Right. And he killed himself. Well, they say he killed himself. He's dead in any case. But has any other meaningful suspect ever emerged that you're aware of?
Well, I have my opinions of who was likely involved, and I don't want to defame those people. So I'll keep those.
And I hope you won't use names, but can you just can you characterize who these people were and what their motive might have been in your view?
In my opinion, they're likely associated with the biodefense complex, and their motive could have been to create more fear or hostility after 9/11 in the population. It could have been financial. Those are probably the two leading motives as to why that happened. My expert opinion. And actually, in private afterward, they'll tell you, who I think probably is involved. But
these would be
me being an expert in biodefense. I mean, this is one of the first things I did deep dives on. Even in fact, in my PhD coursework, it was taught by Dr. Mike Osterholm, and he and I do not see eye to eye on a lot of things. He taught this in his course. This was a case study around biodefense.
There are a lot of biolabs outside this country, I've noticed, run by the U.S. government. Well,
they're not really run by the U.S. government. So there's this thing called the Cooperative Biological Engagement Program, CBEP, and there's a few other programs. And the idea is we engage in scientific diplomacy with foreign laboratories so our enemies do not become allied with them. So, for example, the Ukraine labs. I actually was involved in writing some of the proposals for those laboratories, and I can't say with who. I'm under NDA, but here's the issue. If we don't engage in those cooperative biological engagement programs with a laboratory like in Ukraine, there's a very real possibility that the Chinese will or the Russians will.
I get it.
So it's better that we're working with them.
I understand. Yeah. No, I don't, but that's not crazy.
Yeah.
I don't think or certainly I understand how people talk themselves into that. And it's not prima facie insane or evil. What I find obviously insane and evil is the lying about it. And so, the Undersecretary of State said in a Senate hearing a few years ago, after the Ukraine war broke out, on camera, under oath, this is Victoria Nuland, architect of the current disaster in Ukraine, that she was worried about the biolabs there. So she said that on camera. So, okay, all right, you said it, honey. And I played the tape and was immediately attacked by everybody, all the other, CNN and all the other intel community controlled news outlets as like a conspiracy wacko. And there are no biolabs in Ukraine. What are you talking about?
Same.
Like, what is that?
I don't understand how the Biden administration handled the messaging and the communications around that. So I don't know why Miss Newland actually said the things the way that she did.
She's stupid. That's
been,
one of her deepest secrets. She's an idiot.
It would have been so much easier just to come out and tell the truth. We have this thing called the Chemical Biological Engagement Program, and we had a relationship with these laboratories in Ukraine. And actually, this is published information by the Department of Defense and the State Department, other agencies involved. And you can go look at CBEP maps and see where we have this information, or you can play the game where you go look at awarded proposals which are not classified. So there's ways to find this information. It's not secret, and they're using private companies and universities to have these relationships with these different laboratories, and that's what scientific diplomacy is about.
Why would you lie about it, and why would news organizations collaborate in those lies? Like, to me, as a non-scientist but a student of human nature, that's a tell that something's bad going on. Like, why would you lie about that?
Well, I think the Biden administration was completely incompetent in all these areas. And I think it was looking at Ms. Newland specifically. I believe that she didn't know what she didn't know. It was a case of that. Right. And so
that is one of the huge problems with being dumb.
Yeah.
Is you don't know what you don't know, right?
And so she probably couldn't articulate anything other that would be the truth without putting herself in risk of being perjuring herself.
Right.
So I think she gave the answer to not perjure herself, not knowing what she didn't know.
Stupidity is often the real explanation for a lot of things.
Well, the truthful answer could have been, Senator so-and-so, I don't know. My office will look into that and we'll give you a written response within a week. And that's how they trained us.
Yeah, of course. Well, that's what honest people do, is just tell the truth. But I just thought it was interesting that the media cooperated with the cover-up in that, and a million others, of course. But like, why? What is that?
Well, that was all part of the psychological operation, because remember, this didn't happen in a vacuum. They probably didn't want to undermine the public perception of the government related to the COVID origin story. So more of these conspiracy theories that turn out to be true, it undermines the credibility of the main narrative that they're trying to set, which was COVID emerged from
Can I ask
wet market.
Like an even bigger and dumber question, which is like, why would the U.S. government have an interest in lying about that? Why not? China is our rival on many levels, economic and military primarily. And we're often told that, we're in a war against China, a fight with China, a race against China. Why would the same people telling us that go out of their way to cover up the fact that the virus came from a Chinese bioweapons lab?
Well, the government's people, first of all. We always refer to it as the government, but you work in Washington, D.C. and in this space, and any program area that a person could be affiliated with has people running it.
Yes.
Those people don't want to be held accountable.
No, that's right. That's exactly right.
And they obviously are living in a state of fear of what could happen if they were held accountable. So they make decisions to protect themselves out of their self-interest, and they happen to hold some power or leverage or have the relationships to execute on that operation plan.
That's totally right.